Now, if you're a Gator fan or an Ole Miss fan or just a college football fan in general, you're probably pretty familiar with Princely Umialin. Edge rusher number one, plays for Ole Miss, has had a fantastic year. We're talking about today because after the big tough loss against Florida, who he previously played for, was seen attacking some fans, and we got to talk about it because it was interesting. I'll tell you that. So I'm going to do my best to break this thing down for you guys so you can get like a timeline of what happened yesterday and then kind of break it down and give my thoughts about it. So how this all started, Prince Umayyad, again, edge rusher, transferred last year from Florida to Ole Miss. Now, as a Florida fan covering this situation, I don't recall it being an ugly transfer, right? Kind of like a sloppy breakup. He just moved on and it was what it was. And after the fact, we've had him on our show, phenomenal young man. From the looks of it, from my perspective, I said, look, Princely is a place for the more for Princely than for the team. And I feel like Florida tried to utilize him and play in different aspects. And Princely, like, hey, I just want to go after there and hit the quarterback, which is fantastic. Like if that's the system that he can play, he can thrive in, which this year he has thrived tremendously because they've utilized him in that way, then that's fantastic. And that's what some people misunderstand. It's like, look, you got to do what's best for you. And he made a business decision, and I think it was a fantastic business decision for him and for his career. So coming back to Florida, it's going to be a personal one. Obviously, there's been a lot of hype with the Lane Kiffin stuff and Billy Napier. There's been, obviously, we had the Trevor Etienne reunion at Georgia. That had its own little personal vendetta. Look, boys, these guys, I'm not fans of when you leave, especially when you go to a rival. Ole Miss isn't much of a rival, but Princely has always been very vocal on Twitter. So even though it was a clean breakup, he's not shy about saying what he has to say. So here's how he showed up to the game this weekend. Now, that ski mask is actually one of our own here, Stephen Harris, who hands those bad boys out. It's a Florida ski mask, and some of the fans wear it from time to time. So you see this is a subtle jab. I want to make this very clear. I love this. I'm cool with this. You want to show up, flex your stuff, flex it. You better back it up, because if you don't, there's consequences. I myself learned this. If you're going to put yourself out there, that's fine. Just understand that you're going to get some heat back. That's just the world that you live in. I'm cool with you doing it as long as there's a mutual back and forth. And again, you play between the lines. So this, love it. I love it. You want killer mentality. Go get it. Go get it. So this is step one. Then we have the game, which is step two, which he was quiet. I think he had half a sack, I believe. I think he was part of one big tackle, but that was it. Princely was not very much effective at all in this game. I mean, people were screaming do something. He just wasn't doing much of anything at all. And then, of course, this happens. Bryce Thornton interception. And this isn't one that ends the game. I think it's another one that ends the game. But, or maybe it was this ends the game, essentially. And so Princely's on the sideline because, obviously, Florida's defense is on the field to the last 30 seconds, I believe, when Jackson Dart threw that second interception to end the game and to seal the deal. Then here's what happens next. He is seen walking off. And again, his team hasn't left yet. The game hasn't necessarily ended in 0-0. So he's leaving before all of that. Poor sportsman. I think it's a little crappy because you do have guys that you played with, but clearly you didn't have much of a relationship enough to even go shake their hands and say good game. That's something he has to live with. Not me. It doesn't bother me. I also think that it's going to hurt him and on the draft stock. Hey, this guy's not a team player. Again, I said at the beginning of the show, he plays for the name on his back more so for the logo on his side. And this isn't me being a hater. I think it's part of the youth. It's part of growing up. It's part of understanding the bigger picture here. I think there's also maybe the people around him are keeping him in check, holding him accountable. Hey, man, understand the situation at hand here. And some of you might like hearing that. Again, myself, I was 18 and kind of had the world against me. I don't know. I would probably act like an a-hole too, and I did. So I'm not sitting here on this high horse as if that I would act any better. I'm saying this because I've gone through experiences and I've been fortunate enough and blessed enough to have people around me to check me when I needed to, and I've grown from those things. And that's what I hope that at the end of this he can find, because it gets dicier from here. Look, it's funny in the sense because it's you start with this and it's him walking off, whatever. It's kind of Peter Patter. Nobody would even thought about it. Guys walk off the field all the time early. Again, nobody cares. Whatever, pal. You have, in my opinion, you spoke more to the people you play with at Florida and the people you play with at Ole Miss than anything else. Those are the only ones that you have to answer to. The rest of us, who cares? Do what you want. That doesn't matter to me. So this next scene, I don't know exactly where this is in Florida, but it looks like a fan exit. So why he's over here is beyond me. No clue. No clue. Like there's a lot of unpackaged things here that we don't know, but he's underneath, and you kind of see him run back as somebody says should have stayed at Florida, and then he basically is now charging at somebody, and you see him coming up the ramp here, and he's being held back by police officers, and I don't know if they're fans or probably Ole Miss staff, I would assume so, and you see him there just being held back. What was her intentions? I don't know. We're going to go tackle somebody. I mean, finally, maybe he'll get a tackle today. I don't know. Maybe try to get a stat line up. I don't know what he was doing, but not a good look. And again, what I hate the most for this young man is, again, as much as we love to troll him because he was talking smack and wanted to beat him, like, had him on the show, think he's a great kid, has a great future ahead of him. This is going to hurt your draft stock. Like, these are just dumb things that NFL GMs are going to look at like, what are you doing? This is a selfish move. You're a senior. Who cares? You lost. It's over with. Move on. What are you doing? You're going to fight everybody? So this is part, and then he's coming down from this moment, again, chasing somebody for saying something. And then there's this clip here. All right, boys, I know we got ourselves a nice pair of boots, but what goes well with a nice pair of boots is a fantastic pair of jeans. I live and die by my perfect pair of jeans. The perfect jean, if I should say. And I'm not joking. I am not. You can ask the wife. You can ask my beautiful buttocks. Them bad boys are strapped up, wrapped up in the perfect jean every single day of my life. By far, my favorite pair of jeans that I've ever gotten. I wear them multiple times a week. They get washed over and over again. No rip, no problem. Again, worth every penny, man. Worth every penny. You can customize them to the size, to the length, whatever you need. It's fantastic. Use the code HIGHTOP15. Get yourself a nice pair of jeans, especially if you're going to pick up some boosts, whatever you need to. Feel good, look good, play good. HIGHTOP15. When you go to perfectjean.com, again, use the code HIGHTOP15. Get you a little percent off there. Back to the show. This clip right here of him coming back down that ramp, as you can see, and then reacts again to somebody. Like, it's cringy because it's like, what are you doing? Like, you gonna just beat somebody up? You know what I mean? Like, you're just letting words get to you, and it's just like, again, this is not a good look if you're a GM. Like, what are you doing? Why are you responding to somebody just yelling at you? And again, you can hear the clip, like nobody says anything egregious. This is from what I could hear. But either way, why? Big question is, why is he even in this vicinity? Is a whole other thing. And then this was also clipped on Twitter, which I thought was hilarious. So again, he is very active on Twitter. When he played for Florida fans would get very upset because of his participation on Twitter. He would take to Twitter. He would argue with fans when we would criticize him. Not saying that we should criticize him on Twitter. I'm not saying that at all. But he would react. And sometimes it's okay to defend yourself. I'm not like saying that. But we would then get pissed. It's like, if you focus more on playing football. Again, I didn't really care. If you can manage both, do you. It's never bothered me. This, to me, I think is funny. Somebody went in his DM and said, hey, buddy, what happened? Go Gators. He said, your wife's ugly, and you probably undercover gay. Go Gators. The person said, I mean, this is funny. This is harmless, in my opinion. Like, again, he has to think, though, because if somebody screenshots it and shows it and puts it on Twitter, how it could look, this, to me, is harmless. It's just him poking fun and talking smack. This is, honestly, I wish it would have stayed, but unfortunately, obviously, you see that it kind of went further than that, went hidden out into the stands and whatnot, or the walkway. But then he took to Twitter and apologized, said I did let my emotions get the best of me due to my people yelling recklessly at me. But putting my hands on anyone wasn't even a thought. Nevertheless, I had fun in my last game in the swamp, brought back amazing memories, wish we could have left with a dub. Regardless, God is always good. The Bible says, rejoice always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this God well, for you in Christ Jesus, I loved every bit of my 4 years at Florida and wouldn't trade it for anything. God bless all of you. So look, very reasonable response. Him, I think, addressing like, hey, I never had any intentions of putting my hands on anybody, because he was like obviously like aggressively chasing somebody. It's like, what were you going to do? I think that's where it stemmed from. Recklessly yelling at him. I'm assuming he's probably trying to insinuate that people were yelling maybe more aggressive things than just saying, hey, you should have stayed at Florida. Which, again, I mean, I don't condone anything. I think staying at Florida is fine. But I don't condone reckless people yelling reckless things at you. But in a way, like, you have to understand, like, you live in a world people are going to say nasty things. Not that it's okay, but you carry a responsibility, unfortunately, and you have more to lose. And more is what it comes down to. It's not even responsibility, because I hate that, like, you should know better. he's still a kid. He's still growing. I think it's more of like, hey, understand that you have more to lose, and it's your responsibility to behave. Like, that person has nothing to lose by yelling at you. Clearly, that's why they don't mind doing it. You do. And hopefully what comes from this, again, I feel like the surrounding parties around him is is where the help is needed to keep him accountable, to hold him in check. We talk all the time. We joke on the show. It's like, hey, you need better friends, because somebody tell you your hair look bad or you got bushy eyebrows, you ain't doing your thing. Like, I get told all the time, and I got to trim up a little bit. Like, thank you for keeping me accountable. People keep me accountable on the show. Like, hey, you did this, you said that. And I improve from those things because you need people to check you. You can't just follow blindly, but it's healthy. And I feel like watching these things is that what upsets me is there isn't enough surrounding Princely at this moment to help him. But look, I think all in all, I mean, this is part of the game. You're going to take jabs. You're going to come out. You're going to do these things. Like, people show up in, black suits because it's the funeral. And you had the Ohio State quarterback yesterday talking smack about Kurtz and Getty. Said, Google that, baby. Like, I love that. That's the part of the game. Like, him showing up a ski mask. Great. The guy messaging him on Twitter. Great. Like, all those things are fine. But you as a player got to kind of find that nice balance. I think you can have it. I think him on Twitter's always been fine. Say what you want. I don't even care about that. But when you start running around and chasing people, it could get a little out of hand. But I wanted to break it all down because, I mean, it was going everywhere, buzzing everywhere. Everybody was talking about it. It was mayhem. It was somebody that we were looking forward to coming back here again. We as Princely didn't really have much of an impact for Florida last year. To see what he's done this year has been great for his career. It was great for Ole Miss till yesterday. But let me know your thoughts. What were your thoughts down below? Big deal, not a big deal? Do you think it'll affect your draft stock? Maybe I'm overreaching there. I don't know. But be sure to smash the like button, subscribe. We'll see you on the next one. Peace and love, baby.